Katy Perry and her mates all going up to space for 12 minutes. I mean, what the hell is all that about? People are really struggling to make ends meet and...
So, Katy Perry went to space for 12 minutes. And somehow, Lily Allen launched a whole new feud back on Earth. But plot twist, Lily just apologized, blamed herself, and dropped the phrase, internalized misogyny. Wait, what? Welcome to the weirdest celebrity drama orbiting the internet right now. This story goes from zero to orbit real quick, and we're breaking down all the juicy details. Just when you thought celebrity feuds were cooling down, Lily Allen stirred the pot again. But this time, it wasn't a fresh attack. It was something far more unexpected. An apology. The 39-year-old British singer recently did a complete 180 after facing backlash for her sharp criticism of Katy Perry's short Blue Origin spaceflight. Earlier this month, Perry, along with a high-profile all-female crew, including broadcaster Gayle King and Jeff Bezos' fiancée Lauren Sanchez, participated in a brief journey to the edge of space. It was intended to symbolize empowerment and innovation. Instead, it ignited controversy, and Lily Allen was quick to jump on the bandwagon. On a previous episode of her podcast, Miss Me, Allen had lashed out, questioning what the entire trip was even about. She voiced her frustration over billionaires and celebrities spending astronomical sums on 12-minute space flights while the world grapples with economic instability. With people struggling to feed their families and inflation affecting daily life, she couldn't understand the logic of such a mission.
Katy Perry and her mates all going up to space for 12 minutes.
I think that if they're going to go up to space for 12 minutes, we can talk about it for 10 seconds, and that's about all it deserves.
I mean, what the hell is all that about? I just think, it's so out of touch. We're on the brink of, recession. People are really struggling to make ends meet, and it just seems like things are hard at the moment.
In that criticism, Katy Perry, arguably the most famous face in the crew, took the hardest hit. But a week later, Lily seemed to be eating her words. She began the next episode of her podcast with a rare dose of self-reflection. She admitted that her previous comments weren't just harsh, they were rooted in something deeper. She said she'd been thinking about it a lot and realized there was no real reason to single out Katy Perry. Her words had come from a place of internalized misogyny, and that hit her hard. She acknowledged that while she disagreed with the concept of the flight itself, Perry wasn't the only one involved. So why had she gone after her? According to Allen, the answer was uncomfortable, but honest. Katy Perry, in her eyes, is divisive. Someone who attracts strong reactions from both fans and critics. That made her an easy target. Allen admitted that if she were in Perry's shoes and heard someone in the same industry drag her like that, she'd be hurt too. And that realization prompted her to do something few celebrities dare to do publicly. She apologized. Her co-host, Mikita Oliver, welcomed the apology, saying she was glad Lily had taken accountability. The moment was surprisingly raw and, in a way, humanizing. But this wasn't the first time Lily and Katy's paths had crossed in a frosty fashion. The tension between the two pop stars stretches back over a decade. In a 2008 interview, Lily didn't hold back when describing their first meeting. She claimed it had been awkward from the start and went as far as to criticize Perry's entire brand. According to Allen, Perry had been signed in the US as a deliberately kooky and controversial alternative. Basically, an American version of Lily Allen herself. She wasn't impressed, accusing Perry of having crass lyrics and not writing her own music. What added fuel to the fire was a comment Perry had made in the early days of her rise to fame. Jokingly, she had described herself as a fatter version of Amy Winehouse and a skinnier version of Lily Allen. That did not sit well with Allen, who felt the remark was flippant, dismissive, and culturally tone-deaf. In Allen's eyes, Perry wasn't even British and didn't write her own material, so the comparison felt forced and disrespectful. The feud simmered for years, though Perry eventually extended an olive branch. While filming The Good, The Bad, and The Britney for Fuse, she admitted the comment was a joke that didn't land well. She said she'd only meant to be funny and didn't realize how seriously it would be taken. She added that comedians, like herself, shouldn't always be taken at face value. But even with that olive branch, there's always been an undercurrent of tension between the two. And Lily Allen isn't exactly new to controversy. She's had public disputes with several celebrities, from Azealia Banks and Courtney Love to Victoria Beckham and even acting legend Miriam Margolyes. Not to mention her infamous 12-year feud with Cheryl, which became tabloid gold over the years. This time, though, her latest controversy wasn't just about calling someone out. It was about why she did it. And that's what made it different. She openly admitted that her reaction had less to do with the actual event and more to do with her own unresolved issues. Her frustration with the world, rising costs, political instability, and the absurdity of space tourism was channeled into an easy target. And that target happened to be Katy Perry. She recognized that in doing so, she joined a familiar pile-on, one that women in the public eye often face more than their male counterparts. Perry, being the most recognizable of the crew, became a lightning rod for criticism. Allen now sees that singling her out reinforced a toxic cycle instead of challenging the bigger picture. Interestingly, Lily Allen wasn't alone in her disapproval of the Blue Origin mission. Model and actress Emily Ratajkowski also went viral for her scathing reaction. In a passionate TikTok video, she called the mission beyond parody and labeled it end-time stuff. She expressed disgust at the idea of billion-dollar space missions being framed as celebrations of Earth while being funded by corporations accused of accelerating environmental collapse. Her argument wasn't personal, but systemic.
Okay, I'm back. I have more to say. I think that this space mission is confusing to people because seeing women and people of color in spaces like science and politics that have not previously included them feels and looks like really looks like, optically, looks like progress. But the truth is that having a man who has gained his power and become a part of the 1% purely through exploitation and greed, deciding to take his fiancée and a few other famous women to space for space tourism is not progress. Instead, just speaks to the fact that we are absolutely living in an oligarchy where there is a very small group of people who are interested in going to space for the sake of getting a new lease on life, while the rest of the population, most people on planet Earth, are worried about paying rent or, having dinner for their kids. I saw a creator on here who said that privilege is not an accomplishment. And further, and say that exploitation is certainly not an accomplishment, and then being able to take the privilege that you have gained from exploitation and greed of the planet, of resources, of human beings, and then doing something like going to space for 11 minutes is certainly not an accomplishment. That's why this all is giving Hunger Games, right? When I'm making another video is because I think we're in a place in the world where we need to be able to discern what real progress looks like. And what happened yesterday was nothing like that.
Criticizing the logic of sending a crew into orbit as a PR stunt while the planet's resources dwindle. It's clear the spaceflight struck a nerve with people, even beyond celebrity circles. But what makes Lily Allen's situation particularly interesting is the arc of regret. She went from calling it out in a fiery rant to reflecting on her role in perpetuating public shaming, especially towards women. It's not every day you see a public figure in the entertainment industry admit they were wrong, especially when it involves another celebrity. But Allen's apology offers something rare in the world of fame and feuds, a moment of genuine humility. It's a reminder that behind the headlines and heated podcast takes, people evolve, and sometimes they're willing to say sorry. As for Katy Perry, she hasn't responded to the apology, and maybe she never will. But if she does, perhaps it'll be with the same kind of humor and grace she once showed when she extended that first olive branch years ago. Either way, one thing's clear. In the strange world of celebrity space travel and podcast confessions, the final frontier might just be emotional growth. So Katy touched the stars, Lily touched a nerve, and now we're all watching this unexpected orbit of emotions unfold. Apologies were made, shade was thrown, and somewhere, Jeff Bezos is probably sipping tea in zero gravity. But hey, what's your take? Is Lily's apology a step toward growth or just damage control? And was the space trip iconic or just out of touch? Let us know in the comments. And if you love a bit of drama with your rocket fuel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because in celebrity land, even 12 minutes in space can cause a storm back on Earth. Catch you in the next one.